Good afternoon, good evening, good day, good morning, everybody. It's Saturday, June 11th, and you know what that means. It is time for the High Risk Wrestling Podcast. I am your host. I am the number one contender, Jeremy Pearson. Got a nice little fun show for you today. Finally, we'll be starting our new series. But first things first, as always, you can check me out on my socials. Twitter, the 215, Charismatic _creations 52 on Instagram, and Charismatic Creations on Facebook, YouTube, and Tumblr. Also, don't forget to check out the Charismatic Card, soon to be Charismatic Gaming channel. I'm gonna get a couple videos up on there this weekend. Hoping to get that done today after I do this. But last week we had the Hell in a Cell preview show, and we didn't do a What Just Happened, but I was able to review the show on Friday night, last night, and it was a solid show. Honestly, it was one of those shows where we didn't expect a lot, but we were given entertainment. It was a Raw show. There was only one SmackDown match. And but this week we are starting our faction warfare segment show, just looking at factions throughout the professional wrestling atmosphere, past, present, possibly future. I'm gonna try to get at least 4 factions per episode in there, and this ranges from AEW, WWE, ECW, Impact Wrestling. So we're gonna be in there. But for now, you all know what's next, so just go on and hit my music. Alright, so it looks like possibly that Bobby Lashley could get a push. So if you watched Hell in a Cell, there was an audible call. There was a loud audible call. You could hear the referee tell Lashley to go pose with the championship belt that a kid was holding. And well, with the Cody injury, you guys don't know Cody Rhodes is injured. I don't even think we covered that. Cody is injured. So they need another top face on Raw. And that also came with the audible that was called on Raw, which we'll go over. But Lashley was told to pose with the championship, and I guess to eventually face possibly Roman at some point. They only have one world champion, and we know Roman's next challengers lined up will be Riddle, Randy, and Drew McIntyre. But it looks like Lashley right now will be challenging for the United States Championship. Adam Cole is not expected to wrestle until Forbidden Door. He is hurt. He's been dealing with a lot of injuries, so he's banged up. And look, the other members of the Undisputed Elite, the Young Bucks, Red Dragon, can wrestle in his stead, and Cole can be on commentary. Cole can keep doing work on the mic until he gets ready for Forbidden Door. What he'll do at Forbidden Door, kind of have an idea, and we'll get into that when we get into the show review. This Stephanie McMahon situation is intriguing. So there was a new hire to fill Stephanie's place for now, which is Catherine Newman. She's now the executive vice president and head of marketing. She has over 2 decades of experience in this, but there's more. It sounds like WWE were burying Stephanie behind the scenes, that they're putting out negative stories that Stephanie was not good at her job, which the WWE are denying that Stephanie was pushed out, even though it was Vince McMahon who made the call. He's the one who says she needs to go, step away, whatever, however you want to play it. Nick Khan and everyone else at the high at the top are denying this. They're denying that they're trying to slander Stephanie. this may get a little heated, a little awkward. And there's even a chance that Stephanie may not just come back. I mean, they started the public burial of her. This is keep your eyes and your ears to the ground for all of this, everybody, because this is going to get a little bit more strange. Cody is expected to miss 9 months, even though they teased that he could potentially wrestle. He's not. Cody's going to be out for 9 months. So we're in June, July, August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March. That will put his return right around WrestleMania. Maybe he can come back quicker. Remember, Cena came back, I want to say 4 months from his torn pectoral injury. That's when he came back at number 30 at the Royal Rumble, the one that was held at Madison Square Garden. So we'll see what's going on with Cody. He did have successful surgery. Matt Cardona reveals his timeline recovery, so he's going to be out. He's just for a minute, for a long. I'm not gonna say a long time, but he's gonna be away for a minute. NXT, the Fallout 4 In Your House brought in some solid viewership numbers. 657,000 viewers with a .14 and an 18-49 demo. That is a large jump from the previous week that only had 534,000. NXT still got a good show. Roman Reigns will not be wrestling at Money in the Bank, which is why he will be defending the championship next week. We'll get into why he's defending the championship next week. So, this is why you should not have one world champion. Because now Roman's not working at Money in the Bank, which is one of your bigger shows. Let that sink in. Roman Reigns is not working one of your bigger shows. Apollo Creeds and Commander Aziz have been officially moved to NXT, and they're still making main roster money. This is not like Ziggler going down to just do a couple matches. No, they're officially back on the NXT roster. Paige announced that she will be leaving the WWE soon, that her contract is up at the beginning of July 7th to be exact. And she's moving on. She clearly wants to wrestle again. And obviously there's always a belief that she could just jump to NXT. We'll see. She could also go overseas. But WWE has tried to really put a hamper on independent wrestling over there in the United Kingdom. So we'll see. But that's the news, and we'll be back. Oh boy, oh brother, oh boy, oh wow. I don't know what the fuck that was, but the week in review, as you know, as always, we go over Raw, Dynamite, Impact, SmackDown, and Rampage. We've got our matches of the week, and we have a very, very obvious star of the week, but we'll get into that. First things first, Monday Night Raw, we have our Hell in a Cell Fallout. We've had mention of Money in the Bank, but no qualifying matches. Those started on SmackDown. But for Raw, essentially, Cody comes out and just talks, says the right things. Seth comes out. Seth says they'll be proud. They shake hands, and that's it. I'm like, okay, that's a little odd, little strange. Gives Cody his props and then leaves to the back. Cody walks. Gives one more waving goodbye on the ramp because he will be going away because of his injury. And then Seth attacks him with the sledgehammer, takes him out, beats his ass, and Seth stays still. Now, I honestly believe they should have turned Seth face here. The attack wasn't needed, but it's whatever. Seth stays heel. So Seth will stay one of the top heels on the show while we're also moving some things around. Now, We'll get into it when we get to something that happened later on the show. Dana Brooke versus Becky Lynch. was a regular match, right? You figure Becky's going to win. And then we had 24/7 shenanigans, and Becky's like, no. So what happened was she said, no, nobody's winning championships here unless it's me. So Akira was the champion, Dana won, and now we have a 24/7 title match between Dana and Becky, which Dana won with the help of Asuka. So let that sink in that Dana Brooke has defeated Becky Lynch. Now, I would have loved for Becky to win. I don't see it as a demotion of Becky being in the 24/7 stuff because she can help elevate it. Also, there was no Carmelo here at all, or R-Truth. So whatever happened to them teaming up once again to go after Dana Brooke? Whatever. I think Becky should have won. We had Miz TV with Riddle. This was just what Maurice was back to. This was just essentially to promote the new season of Miz and Mrs. Ciampa attacked Riddle randomly. And what the fuck are we doing with Ciampa? We got to figure this out. Please. Riddle beats Miz. Miz originally didn't want to agree to the match, but once Ciampa jumped Riddle, was like, oh shit, hey, I can wrestle now. This did what it needed to do. Riddle won. The Street Profits beat the Usos in a championship contenders match by countout. This was a good match. You know these guys do. So they get a championship match at a later date. Lashley came out, said he's done with Omos and MVP. He's moving on. So Theory comes out and confronts Lashley. And I'm like, bro. So remember that push we talked about? Yeah, this is Lashley going after the United States Championship, a championship he's already held. Will they have a match at Money in the Bank? Who knows? I would like we'll see. We'll see, because I really do think that Theory should be in the Money in the Bank match. Veer beats Dominic Mysterio by DQ. Dom runs away, and I like sometimes when a face sees they can't win a match. Be smart. We need smarter faces. The Judgment Day. So we had a countdown timer, right? That at 10 o'clock, the Judgment Day will be getting a new member. So they come out, Edge, Rhea Ripley, Damian Priest. They won the match Sunday. So who's the new member? It's Finn Balor. Okay, you can't beat him. Join him. It's been a minute since Finn was a heel. But Rhea and Damian Priest turn on Edge. Kick Edge out of the Judgment Day, and Finn Balor is the new leader. They put Edge to a table, then give him a concerto. So I guess I don't like that when how heels become faces sometimes just because other heels attack them. Because Edge has done some despicable shit, and now also we're supposed to cheer for him when he comes back. But the new Judgment Day is Finn, Rhea, and Damian Priest. None of them are really good on the mic, so maybe a fourth member will come that can be a spokesperson for them. Omos squashed Cedric Alexander in like 15 seconds, and MVP's talking. Rude and Ziggler just randomly show up for an interview. And MVP and Omos are like, yo, what the fuck? And they just super kick Omos and then run away. It was so random. Zeke beat Otis, admits to KO that he is Elias just so he can get his rematch. And once he gets his rematch, he's like, I just lied, dog. It's just, I'm not Elias. As the world turns, and in our main event, Rhea Ripley won a fatal 4-way, defeating Liv Morgan, Alexa Bliss, and Doudrop to face Bianca Belair at the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. So these two can go. They can put on a nice show. I'm excited. I'm excited. I don't think Doudrop was going to win. We got to continue with her and Nikki. But we'll see what's next. Raw gets a fist. Over on Dynamite, we're crowning a new world champion. So we open up the show with the Casino Battle Royal. And we'll just jump down to the final four, which was Kyle O'Reilly, Andrade, Wheeler Yuta, forget who the fourth person was. Kyle O'Reilly, Andrade, Wheeler Yuta. I forget. But there were a lot of stories told, and in the end, Kyle O'Reilly won, which was really a shocker. I wanted either Miro or Andrade to win, and Miro wasn't even in the match. Miro wasn't even on the show. But he was mentioned, which is good. So Kyle O'Reilly will face Jon Moxley later in the evening, and that person will go on to face the winner of the Tanahashi Goto match at Dominion to become the new interim world champion. So AEW introduced a new championship called the All Atlantic Championship, which is essentially like an intercontinental title, with the exception of Japan is on the Pacific Ocean, but they're featured on the belt. It's a very nice looking belt, but I think they only did it because All Atlantic is not a bad name, not by any stretch of the imagination. So there was a tournament for the match, and our first match in the tournament was Pac versus Buddy Matthews. The tournament features all foreigners. So Pac versus Buddy Matthews was a very good match. Pac wins with the Black Arrow, and he's moving on to the next round. The House of Black confront Buddy at the top of the ramp. House of Black with the Julia Hart there. Trent Beretta wants a rematch with FTR because their match, obviously, for the Tag Team Championships ended abruptly. FTR comes up and says, we ain't got no beef with you, but we'll give you the match. And Will Ospreay shows up, and then the United Empire show up, and they attack, and they all just jump FTR and Trent Beretta. We're building to a Forbidden Door. Okay. Hangman Page beats David Finlay, another New Japan guy. David Finlay, if you also don't know, is the son of Fit Finlay. And after Hangman wins, he says he wants Okada. Woo! Woo! He wants Okada. And Adam Cole was on commentary, and he said, no, we ain't having this because Okada may not even be champion. It could be my man Jay White. So we'll see. We'll see. All I know is I'm hyped for Okada to finally show up in AEW. Wardlow's reasoning for not being in the Battle Royal, which doesn't make sense since he wants to face CM Punk. Okay, I get that, but you could have just won the Battle Royal, beat Mox, and beat whomever to end up facing Punk and still be world champion. But he's gonna have a 20-on-1 match because he's being sued by Mark Sterling and group. Thunder Rosa issued an open challenge to defend her championship, and it was answered by the Problem, Marina Shafir. This was a really nice match. This was a good match. Thunder Rosa wins with the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment. Marina attacks Thunder Rosa after the match, and Toni Storm makes the save. So we could potentially see Toni Storm as the next challenger for Thunder Rosa. And in our main event, in just good old fashioned wrestling match, with a contrast of styles, Jon Moxley defeated Kyle O'Reilly. He will advance to the Forbidden Door. This was a solid show. It was a good show. It gets a fist, leaning towards more of one thumb up, but it wasn't bad. Over on Impact, Taya Valkyrie and Rosemary may team up again, and it looks like they may go after the Influence for the Knockouts Tag Team Championships. The Briscoes and the Good Brothers continue to fight, while Sami Callihan and Moose continue to fight. So keep telling these stories. They're great. And I don't know more are taking out Impact, I guess, originals, while some are just declining, as they have a match coming up for Slammiversary, a 5-on-5 match, and the Impact side is missing 2 people, but in the main event, Honor the More defeated the team of Kaz and the Motor City Machine Guns. This was a good match. Over on SmackDown, we had Money in the Bank qualifiers. No Madcap Moss. No Aaliyah. Odd. Even though Shotzi was on the show, which I'm happy. Sai was on the show. I'm still happy about that. But we opened up with a Money in the Bank qualifier, Sheamus versus Drew McIntyre, and I feel like it's contractually obligated. These two have to fight each other every year, and the match has to be a good match, because guess what, this was a good match. And even though it ended in a no contest, it made sense because these two dudes know each other well, and it takes a lot to put each of them away. They just completely kept fighting, and they went to commercial break, after the match was called no contest, and they were still fighting and had just a really, really good brawl. So you know what that means. We're going to get a fucking rematch next week. And then later in the show, Sheamus and Drew McIntyre leaned on Adam Pearce to be put into the match, the Money in the Bank match. But y'all didn't win. Neither one of you won. Lacey Evans defeated my girl, Xia Li, qualified for Money in the Bank. This was very, very clunky. I'm putting this on Lacey Evans. She still has not improved. She looked good, because Lacey Evans does look good, but her in-ring skill still needs work. Ronda Rousey was confronted by Shotzi Blackheart, and she beat Shotzi in the match, which was good. I'm just happy to see Shotzi on SmackDown. I'm happy to see Ronda wrestling. Natalya showed up to attack Ronda and put her in a sharpshooter after the match and injured her, so we got a little bit of intrigue to make it think that, no, Natalya could win. Gunther defeated Ricochet to win their Intercontinental Championship. First things first, I'm not a fan of skinny Gunther. He's lost a lot of weight and it looks weird. Ricochet ends his uninspiring Intercontinental Championship reign, but at least he did good in this match. But now Gunther, maybe they can give Gunther more to do. And in our main event, we have Sami Zayn versus Matt Riddle. If Riddle wins, he gets a championship match against Roman Reigns next week on SmackDown. Sami wins. Riddle is barred from SmackDown. Needless to say, guys, this was a very, very good match. Paul Heyman was on commentary, doing his thing, doing what he does best. And you guys go watch this match. Riddle wins in the end with an RKO. Sami was going for the haluva kick, and Riddle just ran at him, hit an RKO. So Riddle took it on Roman Reigns next week, fighting for the honor of Randy Orton. The Usos attacked Riddle, but Riddle was able to fight back with a kendo stick, and he stands tall. Our babyface stands tall. It's not bad. Over on Rampage, Eddie Kingston defeated Jake Hager in a surprise win, and I'm calling it a surprise win because Hager has been super protected while in AEW. He rarely takes a pinfall. If you look at all the multi-man matches, it's almost always Jericho that being the one getting pinned. Britt Baker has an issue with Toni Storm jumping the line for the AEW Women's Championship. Britt, we want you at the back of the line, so please hush your face. Jay Lethal and Satnam Singh won a squash match, in a match that surprised a lot of people for how good it was. Chris Statlander beat Red Velvet. This was a really, really good match. Go back and watch it, guys. The baddies were at ringside, and then they end up laying out Chris. Anna Jay tried to make the save, and they take out Anna Jay. Athena runs out to make the save, and we're moving forward to Jay's next challenger. I would much, much prefer it to be Chris Statlander. I've said time and again, I think Chris is going to be the one to dethrone Jade. Chris can beat Jade, move on to defend the title against others, while Jade can then go and feud with Athena. And in our main event, FTR and Trent defeated the team of Will Ospreay, Kyle Fletcher, and Mark Davis. It's a good match too. There's a lot of good matches this week. You want to know there are a lot of good matches? Matches of the week from In Your House this past weekend. North American Championship, Cameron Grimes defending against Carmelo Hayes. From Hell in a Cell, the Raw Women's Championship match, Bianca Belair defending against Asuka and Becky Lynch. Also from Hell in a Cell, the Hell in a Cell match, Seth Rollins versus Cody Rhodes. From Dynamite, Pac versus Buddy Matthews, John Moxley versus Kyle O'Reilly. From Impact, Kazarian and the Motor City Machine Guns versus Honor No More. From SmackDown, Matt Riddle versus Sami Zayn. From Rampage, Chris Statlander and Red Velvet versus Red Velvet. And FTR and Trent Beretta versus Will Ospreay, Kyle Fletcher, and Mark Davis. Those are a lot of good matches, guys. A lot of good, solid matches. And a star of the week, obviously, it has to be Cody Rhodes. Still don't know how he was medically clear, but apparently, once you tear the pec off the bone, whatever, there's not much more damage you can do. That's why he was clear. But we'll be right back, guys, with our top story. One of the staples of professional wrestling are factions, are stables. And I don't know where we'd be without them. They are so so darn important. I said darn. God damn it. That it feels odd sometimes when a company, wink wink, nudge nudge, WWE doesn't really factor into them, pay attention to them. So our new series, Faction Warfare, and we're just going to be talking about factions, stables, groups, the history of wrestling, past, present, possibly even future. So first things first, we need to establish some things. Stable, faction, group, 3 or more wrestlers. And you're going to notice a common theme that factions, stables, more often than not, are heels. And they share common motives, allies, adversaries. It could be through one storyline or multiple storylines coalescing into one. And the thing that will always make it interesting is it's not being forced, not feeling forced. Prime example, not relating to factions or stables, but the early days, not the early days, but the mid days of NXT when they finally brought in War Games. It felt natural to get a War Games match. And kind of like the Avengers versus the Justice League. The Avengers always come together by happenstance, by coincidence, whereas Justice League comes together because they know they need to come together. So we have factions like that on both sides of the aisle. Sometimes factions will have feature wrestlers that have the same gimmick. It's like, oh, it's like the Spider-Man meme where they're all pointing at each other. So our faction stables got to be at least 3 people, no tag teams. This is I'm not going to try to have it to be a deep dive, but I just wanted to have a conversations. Now there are times where we can get to points of factions within a faction, such as or tag teams inside of a faction, such as Chaos, such as the Bullet Club. Now, I'm going to be looking at both a stable and a faction. So, but they differ from each other. So, a stable differs from a faction in that a stable consists of wrestlers who share a common leader. For example, a manager or a valet who directs the wrestlers and speaks for them. That's what a stable is, whereas a faction is a larger group. And a faction is a group of several wrestlers who band together and protect each other during matches. And they are different from a stable in that stables have a leader. So more often than not, we're going to be looking at stables, but every now and then we'll be looking at factions. All right. And I wanted to start by looking at the importance of factions. There are 2 things that almost always happens with factions. 1, they're dominant. 2, the end goal is for them to make new stars. Okay? For me, that's always my main thought process for a faction. I'm not necessarily looking towards when they're eventually going to break up, but I'm more so looking towards, all right, when this is all said and done, how will these guys come out in the end? I'll give you a prime example. A group that we'll talk about in due time is the Hurt Business, the WWE version of the Hurt Business. MVP, Bobby Lashley, Cedric Alexander, Shelton Benjamin. Like these guys together. But in the end, who ultimately benefited from them being together? Damn sure wasn't Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander. I can tell you that for damn sure. So let's start with a smaller stable who I've seen begin. I've seen their beginnings. I've seen their ending, i.e. their dissolution. Eminem, Joey Mercury, Johnny Nitro, and Melina. These guys came together on SmackDown. They started out in OVW. Now, these guys and girl were very good together. Things just worked for them. In 2005, Pro Wrestling Illustrated made them the tag team of the year. Actually, before we even continue, let's go. Let's see if I can find that listing. Tag team of the year, 2005. So, the third runner-up in 2005 was Chris Harris and James Storm, America's Most Wanted, in TNA. Second runner-up was Road Warrior, Animal, and John Heidenreich. Let that sink in. Shows you kind of how good of a team they actually were. First runner-up was Andy Douglas and Chase Stevens, with Joey Mercury and Johnny Nitro being number one. So, Eminem started out on Ohio Valley Wrestling. At the time, Johnny Nitro and Melina were dating. They were called up. They debuted on Carlitos Cabana. Remember that, y'all? Remember Carlitos Cabana? There's always a talk show. They interrupted a segment between Carlito and Rey Mysterio, and then they attacked Rey. This ended up with them feuding with Rey, and at the time his partner was my guy, Eddie Guerrero. All right, and they ended up defeating Rey and Eddie for the WWE Tag Team Championship after Eddie refused to tag into the match. Eddie turned heel eventually. And was that? I wonder, did that lead to us? Let me look up SummerSlam. This was in 2005? SummerSlam 2005. If this is the ladder match. No. Yes, it was the ladder match. Listen, I know my stuff. Now. This was Eddie turned heel, which led to their Eddie and Rey's ladder match. But back to Eminem. So they went on to become the tag team become the tag team champions, and they were good together. They had this paparazzi gimmick. They had the red carpet. They had the fur coats and the glasses and the paparazzi taking pictures of them. They had the smoking hot manager Melina, who herself went on to become women's champion. So they were great. So she was placed into a feud with, I don't know why she was placed into an angle with Heidenreich. It was just whatever. and Eminem would face Heidenreich in a 2-on-1 handicap match, and Road Warrior Animal would end up teaming with Heidenreich, and they would eventually defeat Eminem for the tag team championships. Wow. And this shows you how you got to commit to the gimmick. So Melina saw them losing the tag team championships as bad publicity, so she introduced Jillian Hall as their spin doctor fixer, which ended up with them getting the cover of SmackDown magazine, which I have in my room. Mind you, I have every issue of SmackDown magazine. Jillian would then go leave the group and join JBL in his stable. So back to Eminem, right? They were placed into a fatal 4-way. Was this the ladder? This wasn't the ladder match. They were put into a fatal 4-way match with the Mexicools, William Regal, and Paul Burger, goddamn, in the Legion of Doom 2005, which was Heidenreich and Road Warrior Animal. They won the championships again, and they defended them against Eddie and Batista, who were going through their thing. This was the time when tag team wrestling mattered. You know what I mean? Storyline wise, they then lost the championships to Batista and Ray, and this is where shit really starts to hit the fan. So Melina wants to seduce Batista to forfeiting the match. It doesn't go down. Mark Henry aids Eminem in winning the tag team championships. Eminem then defeated Ray and Batista in a steel cage match, with Henry turning heel. Now, their dissolution. So, mind you, Eminem were only together for 2 years on the main roster. They were placed in an angle where they found themselves in a losing streak against Paul London and Brian Kendrick, where they were all, listen, this was good quality tag team wrestling, know what I mean? And they would keep losing to Kendrick and London until they finally lost the championships to Kendrick and London. Okay. Melina lost a match against Jillian Hall, and then she and Johnny Nitro were fired for SmackDown. So now they're split up for a little bit. Off screen, Nitro and Mercury did not get along, and they decided to split them up by sending Nitro and Melina to Raw and keeping Mercury on SmackDown, but he was about to get suspended for a wellness policy. After the team split, Nitro, so this is where the point where we go, well, who's coming out on top? We kind of figured that it would probably be Johnny Nitro, because if you look at the world of wrestling that we're in right now, you can clearly see that, well, Johnny Nitro, Johnny Elite, John Morrison, so on and so forth. But eventually they came back together. And there was a fatal 4-way ladder match at Armageddon with the Hardys, Eminem, Paul London, Brian Kendrick, William Regal, and Dave Taylor. Who are these fucking people? And Mercury got legitimately injured as a ladder, which was just smashed into his face, and he was taken to the emergency room where he had a broken nose, 15 stitches, and it was working to an injury angle with him wearing a protective face covering. And eventually, they split. Mercury was kind of released. Nitro and Melina continued on Raw, where they found success until the ECW brand was brought in. Nitro was renamed Morrison, moved over there where he became the ECW champion. Melina was eventually let go after some backstage things that happened with her and Batista. If you don't know, go look it up. Mercury returned in 2010 to be part of CM Punk Straight Edge Society and became a trainer in FCW. And I wonder, is he still working for them. Nitro Molina reunited a little bit for and Lucha Underground. Mercury was also part of J&J Security. That's Seth Rollins Pro Security. But in the end, it's safe to say that, you know, Morrison is really the one that came out on top. Just had a beautiful career. And Mercury is one of those guys that works behind the scenes now, where he, you know, he's a good hand. That's Eminem. Have fond memories of them. How about the New Breed? You guys remember the New Breed? So part of that ECW brand, the rebranding, they had a faction, right? They had this was a stable, okay? And essentially they were put together to feud against the ECW originals. So who did the New Breed consist of? The New Breed consisted of Elijah Burke, who was the leader, Marcus Corvon, Matt Striker, Kevin Thorne, Ariel, and CM Punk. Now, for the most part, I liked everybody here in the stable, with the exception of Kevin Thorne. I never really was a fan of him. Loved Shelly Martinez, aka Ariel. CM Punk, duh. Elijah Burke, Marcus Corvon. I don't like Marcus Corvon. I like Monty Brown, the Alpha Male, and Matt Striker. So, what was the concept of the group? So, WWE had purchased ECW. They brought them back as a brand because One Night Stand was just so fucking popular. And the term the New Breed was originally described to describe the revived ECW brand as a whole. A New Breed Unleashed. But that name would then go on to represent the new breed of talent brought in. Vince appeared on Sci-Fi, and storyline wise, he showed a hatred, a disdain for the original ECW, i.e. the ECW originals. And he showed appreciation, love for the new wrestlers that he brought in, for the guys and girls that were going to bring in this new type of ECW that he wanted to make. And you see, we knew where this was heading. We knew Vince McMahon's true dislike for ECW. So the first thing that we got was them being recognized as what ECW should be. As a result, our originals, Tommy Dreamer, Boss Mahoney, Sabu, and Sandman, attacked Elijah Burke, starting the feud. And for a minute, it was Vince McMahon as their spokesperson. Eventually, RVD would join in, not the New Breed, but with the originals. And Vince said that they would be fired to interfere in each other's matches. Matt Striker, Kevin Thorne, and Ariel soon joined forces with Elijah Burke and Marcus Corvon. Striker was named the special guest referee in Thorne's match with Dreamer and refused to count a pinfall for Tommy Dreamer. So the deck was already stacked against the ECW originals. So where do we go? Where would this lead to? Well, it led to Dreamer challenging the New Breed to a match at WrestleMania. This was WrestleMania 23. This was Battle of the Billionaires. Now, as for this feud moving on, Dreamer wins a battle royal that featured both the New Breed and the Originals, leading up to the stable clash at WrestleMania. Okay? And we get to our WrestleMania match. The head, the clash, the New Breed versus the ECW Originals. Now, mind you, right before this match, they all tried to recruit CM Punk. But here's my question. Why would CM Punk join the Originals? Yes, he can kind of embody the spirit of the ECW Originals, but more so, storyline wise, he should join the New Breed. Duh. So what happens with Punk? We'll get to WrestleMania. What happens with Punk? Well, originally he chose to join the New Breed, right? Punk made his decision. He joined them. This came after, well, our WrestleMania match, which the ECW Originals won. Yeah, they won. Shocker, right? So it was time to get some new blood in for the New Breed. Punk swerved the New Breed and ended up joining the Originals after the New Breed kind of attacked them. To put it into this feud, to everything. The Thorne quit. Corvin and Stryker lost to the fucking Major Brothers, aka Ryder and Matt Cardona. Zack Ryder and Brett Myers, who are still a tag team to this day, mind you. And there was a slow dissolution of the faction, which they eventually broke up. RVD came in, then left. Sabu replaced Sandman. There was a tables match, but in the end, how did everybody fare in the New Breed? Well, here's the thing. Exception of CM Punk, nobody's wrestling anymore. Eisenberg is pretty much retired. Marcus Corvine has been retired. Matt Stryker pretty much does commentary now. Kevin Thorne's working in fucking real estate, and Shelly Martinez does interviews. It was a fine storyline for ECW. It was, but never got that oomph, you know what I mean? Because I felt like it should have been dragged out more, and I truly believe ECW not being beholden, being beholden to the new things that they had wasn't going to really work. You know, if it was ECW the old way with the New Breed, being allowed to wrestle under the original ECW rules, then yeah, we would have had something. You know what I mean? And I think that if it was done right, the New Breed, those guys and girl could have gone on to have more prosperous careers, especially Elijah Burke. You know what reminds me of Elijah Burke? Carmelo Hayes. Elijah Burke probably should have been a bigger star than he was. And I think, well, Marcus Corvin, he left because of personal reasons. But Elijah Burke should have come out the main star of that group. He should have come out as a world champion contender, but once again we have this thing where we fail, and they failed to do that with the New Breed. So that's one of the highlights and even lowlights of the WWE CW experiments, because there were some pluses on there. But I thought about doing more factions, but the show's getting just a tad bit long, so we'll do more. Listen, we've got plenty of factions to talk about, and these were two groups that I liked. As you can see from both groups, I'm excluding CM Punk because he wasn't really a full-fledged official member. Though between Eminem and between the New Breed, the one person that came out as a super duper megastar in the realm of professional wrestling is John Morrison. Because look at him, he's still wrestling, does TV roles now and then. He's honored and respected, but it's not like Joey Mercury and Melina are respected. These are two people that are also very, very respected. It's just, what I really believe is that I think Eminem were ahead of their time, and Eminem would excel today in the social media driven world. They would excel, and I'm thinking to myself, are there teams, are there faction stables that are like them now, could be like them? And right now, nobody's coming to mind. So I would love to see some form of Eminem today. Not Mercury, Nitro, Melina, but another 3-man group, 2-man and a girl, whatever, of that paparazzi, of that social media driven grouping. As for the New Breed, should have been better, should have been more. Did I want them to win at WrestleMania? No. I'm born and raised Philadelphia. All right. ECW is who I am, is what I am, is what we are. And I needed the Originals to win that match. I just wish Elijah Burke would have come out a bigger star. Yeah, that sucks. But that's it for now, guys. That is our show. Thank you again for listening, watching and listening. Next week we'll be looking at transitional champions. I can't wait to check that out. As always, check me out on my socials. Charismatic_creations52 on Instagram. Charismatic Creations on Facebook, Tumblr, and YouTube. Don't forget to check out Charismatic Cards on YouTube as well. And stay tuned for the Money in the Bank Roundtable discussion coming in the next week or two. I'm gonna try to get this thing together, get some guests, and we're just gonna talk about Money in the Bank, man. This is gonna be fun. We're gonna have some fun with that. And as always, Xia Li, Gigi Jolin, and Wendy Chu. Holla at your boy. Peace.